Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of State of Wrestling. And yes, I decided to stick with that name, quite frankly, because I can't think of anything better. This is your co-host of Kingdom of Honor, Jeff, and I am going to break down a couple of things that are in the news. Didn't know I was going to do this so quickly, but I did get positive feedback on the last video, so I figured, what the hell. Excuse me, I ate a habanero stuffed olive right before I decided to do this video, so not a good idea. Another not so good idea was these red walls, which I discovered last week. I thought that was a good idea a year ago. Turns out, no. It wore off on me. And then when I saw my red face in front of that red wall last week on the video I did, it was brutal. Just brutal. So I tried to do a little home decorating. As you can tell, I'm not a professional TV guy, not a professional radio guy. I'm sure as hell not a professional decorator. So this is what we get this week. Regardless, what I want to talk to you about, and you can join me and my co-host Shane every week. We do break down all of the pro wrestling in the industry. Not so much WWE, because that to me is not pro wrestling. That's sports entertainment and not the greatest. We break down AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and my personal favorite right now, MLW, Defiant, Rev Pro. You go through the NWA. I mean, you can just run through the list and we break it down. But the reason I decided I wanted to do this again is, first of all, because I like it. Secondly, the Twitter feud that came up this week, and I'm sure everybody by now knows about it. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay had a little back and forth. All started with Seth Rollins and Will Ospreay had a little back and forth, and it all started with Seth. Seth started putting out some tweets, which, by all means, go for it. You're the world champ. You're the spokesman. You're the face of the WWE right now. Get on Twitter and brag about your product. You can jump on there all you want and talk about how it's the best wrestling ever. Some of us agree. Some of us don't. And that's our preference. As a wrestling fan, that's our preference. I personally am not a big WWE fan. I do think they've got some of the best talent in the world. I just don't think they use them up to their ability, and they push people that are really good, really talented, but those top tier people get a little too much push there. But that's all a story for another time. If you listen to our last broadcast, you'll hear us go off on that quite a bit. You can find that, just shameless plug right now, you can find that on my personal favorite spot, and you can find it on a lot of spots, but my personal favorite is our Patreon site. It's www.patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor, and we've got 3 tiers. We pump out a lot of content, and in addition to our YouTube channel, where I personally try to put up as much content as possible, and check that out. Again, it's www.patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor. You can find all of our social media links in the description, which I'm going to place soon. But Seth Rollins, God bless him, he got on, he started talking about his product, talking about how it's the best wrestling in the world, and it was bragging about himself and about the product, which by all means, dude, go for it. Great. You love your product, you love your company. I'm all for you. And again, I have no problem with that. What I do have a problem with is when he decided to say that nobody else does it as good as him, nobody else does it better than him, nobody else does it as often as he does. That's where it started to get a little sketchy. Because there are so many talented wrestlers out there that honestly do it better than him, and do it as often as him, and do it on a better, more consistent than he does. Seth Rollins is one of the best in the world. I'd say top 10, but that's the key point, top 10. I can think of 5 guys right off the top of my head who are having a better 2019 and a better last couple of years than Seth. And that's not a knock on Seth. It's just the state of the product he's in. And when Will Ospreay answered the challenge, with a simple tweet saying, "I'm alive," just putting it out there, what Seth should have done is he should have acknowledged that, yeah, hey, you know what, you are damn good. I'd love to have you in the WWE, but you're not with us now, so I'm talking about people in our company right now, not overseas. But instead, he decided to call him out. and he decided to say, call him a little boy, little guy, and to say that they've already got a better version of him in WWE, which, no offense to Ricochet, he's always been one of my favorites. I loved him in Lucha Underground. I loved him in his tag team roles in NJPW. I absolutely loved him in NXT. And his main roster run has been really, really well done. But dude, he is not a Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is one of the top 4 or 5 wrestlers in the world right now. He's the reigning NJPW World Champion after winning Best of the Super Juniors, and he's entered in the G1. That's a huge thing. Might be one of the most prestigious tournaments in the world. And for Seth to bury that and act like it doesn't matter, that's a huge mistake. And to Will's credit, I mean, Will came back and kept it, on the in-ring performance. Seth had to go lowbrow and start talking about bank statements and things like that, which, I'm sure with the money Will's making, that's not a big deal to him, but, whatever. Yeah, and then, of course, it brought in Baron Corbin, who, as a heel, fine, say what you got to say, you got your name on the map, but to say you've never heard of Will Ospreay, that's just a huge, huge insult to everybody involved, including yourself. Come on, dude, you're in the industry, you've heard of Will Ospreay, and if you haven't, you need to start getting your head a little bit out of your ass. Also, we got Chris Jericho in there, who, by all means, he's backing up Will Ospreay and letting Seth know that Will is not a little guy. Will is probably an inch taller than, if I remember right, I know he's definitely heavier than Seth, but he might be a little bit bigger, or he might be a little taller than Seth as well. So he's not a little guy at all. And then, Will comes back today with one of the funniest things I think I've seen in a long time, duplicating Seth Rollins' t-shirt, Seth freaking Rollins. Will puts out a shirt now from Pro Wrestling Tees, and you can go there and find it, or you can look it up on Twitter. His post was amazing, but his post was, the shirt design says "little freaking guy," which is a perfect stab at Seth, and also he put underneath it says "burn Twitter down," which is, it's a perfect jab at Seth, and all credit to Will. He kept it somewhat professional, and he's capitalizing off of what is going to be a hot seller, because I've already ordered that shirt myself. So, and you might see it up on the wall here in a few weeks. But I have an issue with the way Seth handled things. I have an issue with the way he attacked when he really shouldn't. He's the face of the company, and a baby face at that. He's not even a heel. Had he been a heel, then I would have had a whole different spin on this. But as the face of the company, as a baby face champion, as a leader in the locker room, you've got to have more respect for the other people in the business. And that brings me to another thing that caught fire in the last couple of days, and that was Kenny Omega, which is why I got everything all confused in the beginning. But Kenny came out and talked about how disappointed he was that WWE decided to broadcast on their network an Evolve show, the same date as their Fight for the Fallen pay-per-view next month. And I get where Kenny's coming from. It's a charity event. He wants all eyes that he can on there, but at the same time, you can't discredit WWE for what is really a brilliant business idea. Now, I mean, I have pros and cons of this, all means, and I'm going to say it right here. We're not in 1998 anymore. We're not in 1999 anymore. We're not in 2000 anymore. There is no more Monday Night Wars. AEW is coming out on Wednesday nights. Wednesday. Your products are on Monday and Friday. Yeah, you have NXT on Wednesday nights, and that's a great product too, one that I watch all the time. But it's on the network. It has a billion replays. You can watch it on demand. You can watch it anytime you want. So for somebody to say that that's competition with NXT is just ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. How about you move NXT to Tuesday nights? You don't have SmackDown on Tuesday night anymore. You can do an NXT block followed by 205 Live, and there you go. Now you got it. But they're not in competition. They're not in direct competition. You've got one that's a sports entertainer who is battling for TV views with people like Monday Night Football and the Emmys and the Grammys and so many other entertainment things, comedies and sitcoms and dramas and so much other stuff that's out there, that AEW is not. I don't want to say not in their league, because I do believe they are in their league and they've got an amazing amount of talent, but they're not your competition, Vince. I mean, just take it down about 60-70%. Calm down a little bit. It's not competition to the WWE. The WWE is on their own platform. AEW is a pro wrestling company. And until they move to Monday nights, I say calm down. They're not taking your viewers away. They're not taking your ratings away. What's taking your ratings away is your horrible content and your desire to push the same 7 or 8 people while a lot of very talented people sit in the back and not appearing on TV for months at a time. That's what your problem is, not AEW. So, but Kenny came out and he challenged AEW in the fact that they put Evolve show on at the same time as Fight for the Fallen, which I see where he's coming from. Lowbrow. You're going up against a charity event, and you're trying to take ratings away from a charity event. It is what it is. It's a smart business move, not so much of a smart social move, and I get where Kenny's coming from. But at the same time, don't be blasting Kenny. He has every right to say what he says, just like everybody else has every right to say what they say. I may have issues with certain things people say, like Seth and the way he handled the Twitter feud. But at the same time, it's America. Dude, say what you want. You can do what you want, say what you want. Ramifications are there. If people shout back about it, by all means, let them do it. It's a free country. Let's do that. And I know this is this become a national thing. And again, there too, he's allowed to say what he wants. Both Seth, both Kenny, they're allowed to say what they want. But at the same time, so are the detractors, the people that come after them, the people that say it was bad pool. They're allowed to say what they want too. So if you're gonna spout off at the mouth and call one of the top 4 or 5 wrestlers in the world a little guy, stand up, be a man, take the abuse when it comes to you, because it's well deserved. I guess I could probably keep going on and on about this for hours, but I'm gonna cut it off here. Kind of want to make these short so that you guys can maybe watch it, give a like, leave a comment, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, so when I do put out new content, or when Shane decides to get on when we do our shows, you'll get that notification that we've got new content on here. Also, go ahead and check out our Patreon site. It's something I'm really proud of. We've got all of our archive shows back to the very beginnings in 2015 when Shane and I first started as a partnership, and then we've also got a few other things, non-wrestling related. We've got our thing I think I'm the happiest about is our Wrecked with Wrestlers series, which is, it's a great look into one guy's career. It's a short 1-hour show. We try to keep it around an hour. We each take 4 matches or moments that we think are our personal favorites and what we would want if we were stranded on a desert island. We break them down. We discuss them. We talk about their career and their benefits and things that they did. We've already done a Chris Benoit. We've done Eddie Guerrero. We've got Rob Van Dam coming up next week. And then in future shows, we're also going to break down the WCW, the ECW pay-per-views from 1 to 21. And then we're thinking about going back and breaking down the TNA Asylum. When they first started out in their weekly $10 pay-per-views, we're thinking of going back and running through some of those as well. So a lot of exclusive exclusive content on Patreon. So that's definitely someplace to go and look. I guarantee it'll be a fun listen. Again, we're not professionals. We don't claim to be professionals. I'm a wrestling fan. And I'm trying to watch wrestling the way that I did when I was 12, 13, even before that, when I was 8, 9, 10. I'm watching it for what the show is. I don't care about the backstage gossip. I don't care about when I sit down and I watch the show, I'm watching it for what the show is, the storylines being told, the wrestling action that's being made, and the characters. I don't care at that moment about anything that happened backstage. I don't care about anything that is going on behind the scenes. It's just I try to watch wrestling the way wrestling was meant to be watched, and that is just take it for what it is. We don't sit and break down Days of Our Lives or Arrow or The Flash or you name it, Friends back when they were on. We didn't sit down and want to know about the backstage gossip, and that judged how we watched it. We watched it and enjoyed it for what it was. And that is the one thing I want everyone to take away from this and from everything I do. Watch it for what it is. Enjoy it for what it is. If you watch it, you don't enjoy the content, move on to another one. There's so many other ones out there. So many streaming services and TV deals and so on. You can find the type of wrestling you want to watch. But by all means, let's just watch it for what it is and stop with all the back and forth. I guess that's all I got. This is Jeff from Kingdom of Honor. Join me on every Monday night with my co-host Shane, and as we break down pro wrestling. That's all I got for now. I guess I'll steal Shane's line, long days, pleasant nights, and my line, goodbye.